talk about the word empowered. What does it mean? Well, empowered simply means to give someone power. And depending on the context, it has a slightly different meaning. In leadership and organization, probably it has a meaning of where the person with the responsibility and authority delegates the responsibility and give the person some authority to accomplish a task. So that's empowering. But in the area of fathers, I can think of two reasons why fathers would need to be empowered. One is when fathers want to be involved and active in the family, involved in their children's life, but they do not know what to do. All right, I want to do it, but I don't know what to do. So these fathers would need empowering in the form of information, education, instructions, some practical tips. All right, try this. All right, and you can be more involved in these different aspects. So that's one type of fathers that need empowering. The other type of fathers that need empowering would be fathers who wants to be involved, all right, but they are maybe lacking in confidence. For some reason, they feel that I can't do this. So these fathers basically needs encouragement. They need someone to, push them, nudge them, cheer them on, or maybe somebody to say, let me journey with you, let me go with you, all right? And then we will do it together. And that's why the community is very important. And I'm so glad all of you are in a father group in the school, because that is really, a community where you mutually learn and mutually support one another, all right? And that's where growth will actually take place, okay? So there are a few reasons why empowering fathers is a very important thing. And these are the benefits of it. The very first person to benefit is the wife. All right, your wives will benefit when you become empowered fathers, when you are more involved with your children's lives and when you are more active at home. In about 2017, an organization by the name of International Labour Organization did a worldwide survey, a global survey to study the division of labor between men and women. And Asia came up tops, but not in a good way, okay? In Asia, what they found was Asian women did 4 times more unpaid work than Asian men. Let me help you understand what is unpaid work. So if you have a job or you do something and you get paid for it, that's your paid work. It's a salaried job. But the things that you do and you don't get paid for, those are the unpaid work, which basically covers housework and childcare. So in Asia, what they found is that Asian women do 4 times more unpaid work in terms of housework and childcare than Asian men. Now, when I first heard these numbers, I was quite shocked, and I said, it can't be. But when I looked at even my own home, all right, and see the amount of work my wife does and I do, I said, well, I think this is pretty accurate, all right? And maybe you feel the same way. So when fathers are empowered to step up and do more, all right, to share more of the load and responsibility of housework and childcare, wives actually feel much happier. In fact, if I may quote one wife saying, I feel that, I love my husband more when he is more involved, all right? So marital quality is the first thing that benefits, that kind of improves when fathers are empowered, okay? Now, marital quality is also important because it helps to improve the father-child relationship. Now, the reverse is also true. Actually, what research has found is the reverse. When father and mother are not on good terms, their marriage is, conflictual, on the rocks, and they have a lot of conflicts between each other. The first relationship that suffers, besides the husband-wife relationship, is actually the father-child relationship. And if the marriage continues to deteriorate and ends in divorce, in most cases, it produces fatherlessness. Take Singapore, for example. Unknowingly, inadvertently, divorce produces fatherlessness because in most divorce cases, mothers are given full custody. And when mothers are given full custody, even though fathers and mothers are given shared care and control, very often, not in all cases, but very often the mothers make it very difficult for the fathers to spend time with their children. All right? And for the matter, the father is already living apart from the child or children, and therefore there's already a degree of fatherlessness. You see? So that's why in Center for Fathering, when I joined Center for Fathering, one of the first things I was pushing for and trying to persuade the leadership to agree with is to conduct marriage workshop. And so right now we have a marriage workshop which I'm conducting, and it's called the 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. It is evidence-based workshop, meaning this has gone through 40 years of very rigorous research and studies of over 3,000 married couples in America and around the world. Okay? So when father-child relationship is improved and is good, that's where the child really receives the full benefits of the involved father. You know, you hear a lot of things about, when children are without a father, they do poorly in school, they will more likely end up in a life of crime. They will have, they will participate in sexual activity earlier. And for the girls, they will likely end up, in teen pregnancies, and they will probably, abuse substances like drugs, alcohol, and other things. All these things. So when research discovers all this, and tells people this is what happens when there's fatherlessness, then people just assume that the reverse is true, right? So if the father is there, then all these things should not happen. Well, in most cases, it is true. Okay, so in Singapore, we are blessed to have a lot of intact families, although the rate of divorce is pretty scary, and we really need to do something about it. Okay, so when fathers are involved in their children's lives and they are active at home, children will have the full benefit of father involvement in their lives. And in this way, we break the cycle of fatherlessness. Now, I want to also point out to you that fatherlessness, there are 2 kinds actually. The most common kind of fatherlessness we hear about is where the father is physically absent from the home. And he is physically absent for various reasons. He could be, separated from the wife. He could be divorced. He could have abandoned family. He could be in hospital. He could be incarcerated, or he could be deceased. So there are different reasons why the father is absent physically, all right? But for every one of those cases, all right, for every case where a father is physically absent, there are many more where the father is physically present but emotionally absent. So that is another form of fatherlessness, which this workshop will primarily address, okay? So when we talk about fatherlessness in this workshop, we are focused more on the physically present father but emotionally absent. Okay? So that's one benefit. The other benefit is when fathers are active, wives are happy. So these fathers are also found to be more productive workers. Because when things are in order on the home front, this father will go to work peacefully, and he will be able to concentrate on his work. He'll be able to focus and give his best at work. But if things are not in order at home, if there's always quarrels and fights at home, disagreement, he will come to work and be very preoccupied. So even in America, for example, they were able to put a dollar figure to this, and if you Google it, you'll find the answers. Every year America loses how many millions of dollars, or even in the billions, when couples are going through divorce or having conflictual and bad, poor marriages. All right, because they will go to work, but they will not be there, or they will simply not be there. They will take leave. They will, call in sick. They will take days off and things like that. So when things are well at home, likely this father will also be a productive worker, at work. So that benefits the family also in terms of, in the long run, I guess, in terms of income and revenue. Okay, you will get promoted, and therefore the family will have a greater income. All right. Finally, another way that the empowered father, benefits is the community. So another thing that research has found is that empowered fathers tend to be more involved in community work, volunteerism, and doing good. Okay, because they're already involved at home, and just is basically an extension of what they're doing at home. So as a result, the community, the society is stronger. So when you add all this up, what we really see is empowered fathers benefits future generations. They leave this world, or at least a society, in a better state than the one that they inherited from the previous generation. Okay, there are also many studies to find that a lot of the crime can be traced back to a family that is fatherless. So criminals, for example, mass shooters, not even the majority of them, but many of them came from fatherless homes. So that's how important empowering fathers really is. Okay.